We all knew Obama was vilifying big oil and big energy, but today we learn of an EPA official admitting as much, and in the process giving us an interesting sneak peek in how this administration operates and thinks in the nudge and the shove and the shoot department.
But as I said, oil and gas is an enforcement party. I was in a meeting once and I gave an analogy to my staff about my philosophy of enforcement, and I think it was probably a little crude and maybe not appropriate for the meeting, but I'll go ahead and tell you what I said. It was kind of like how the Romans used to conquer little villages in the Mediterranean. They'd go into a little Turkish town somewhere, they'd find the first 5 guys they saw, and they'd crucify them. And then, that town was really easy to manage for the next few years. Find people who were not compliant with the law, you hit them as hard as you can.
So they just went in and grabbed the first 5 guys. I wonder if Gibson was one of those first 5 guys or if they did something wrong. We don't know. But everybody else in the music industry is afraid they're kind of easy to manage. Oh, that is the goal now, isn't it? To manage, to nudge people. Just those idiots who are left to their own devices that are always making choices that hurt the collective. Now, if I were a consistent member of the media, I would waste hours and hours of broadcast now showing America how a member of this administration wants to actually drive nails through the hands of oil executives. Because that's what he's saying. I'd have guests on, but he was saying, do you think that's right? Oh, yes, it's this kind of rhetoric. We'd spend hours. But I understand analogies, see, and I know what he's saying here. That he wants to actually drive nails through the hands of oil executives. It doesn't have to be just a threat of jail or crucifixion. I heard it. Pressure and smear, really very powerful tools as well, as Marx and Stalin knew, especially when you don't have the powerful machinery to clean up your name like the left does. For example, how many people do you know that Van Jones even went to jail? I mean, besides you and me. You'd be called a criminal. No, he's a green job czar. And you can't speak out, because if you do, they'll smear you, and then smear you again, and smear while repairing him. I have a few good friends. I have actually 3. One was in my office in the last couple of days who told me about how he was threatened, the same kind of story. He was threatened, his business was threatened, and what happened? The bank said, we can't do business with you. And he's like, I haven't been charged with any. What are you talking about? I'm innocent. What are you talking about? Banks wouldn't do anything. Everybody evacuated. No, can't be seen with him. Oh, and then the charges were dropped. Guess what happened? Oh, now everybody's coming back. Oh. I have another friend. There's number 1. Had another friend who had just landed one of his dream jobs in the financial industry. Unfortunately, it was just before the housing crash. He wasn't even there. He didn't do anything wrong. But they were on a witch hunt. Let's tie a stone around that guy, and that guy, and everybody will be afraid. They were looking for scalps. They threatened him with prison time, and you name it, unless he signed a confession that he was part of the problem. But he wasn't. He wasn't even there. For about a year, he refused. They kept threatening him, and he lost his temper, and he's a pretty mild-mannered guy, and he said, fine, throw me in prison. I'm sick of you putting a gun to my head. Pull the trigger. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall of that. They didn't lock him up, but they didn't leave him alone either. This time they drafted a statement saying that he was at least in the room. They said, well, you just sign this and we're going to keep it quiet. The very next day, after they said, we're not going to smear you, we won't say anything, the very next day, New York Times had a story on him. And of course, it was a rich, greedy Wall Street guy. And then a third friend, who you know the name of, Ted Nugent. Last Wednesday, we talked about him and how the Secret Service was sent to investigate these comments that he made at the NRA.
Now, if Barack Obama becomes the president in November again, I will either be dead or in jail by this time next year.
Okay. And the press was like, they wanted to drive with nails through it. They couldn't understand that one. But I told you last week I do, because I know what he's talking about. Because I've had friends go down this road, but I didn't tell you that. Because this is only a small piece of a full picture. This administration has gone after Ted Nugent for quite a while now. We're going to have him tell the full story of what's been going on in his life and how it truly affects you. The story is going to blow your mind and should open up your mind. Here's a guy who's never been greener than anybody in the Obama administration. This guy is greener than anybody there. And they're cracking down on his farm. They're cracking down on his hunting. They're cracking down on his friends. It's been going on for almost 2 years. Doing everything they can. Make him a criminal. Make him stop. Shut him up. Here's the deal, gang. For the first time in my lifetime, I could say in America, first they came for the farmer and I said nothing. Then they came for the blogger and I said nothing. Then they came for the guitar maker and I said nothing. Then the rocker and I said nothing. Who will be left to stand when they come for you? Look at how this administration targets people like you, the Tea Party. The IRS is after the Tea Party. The war on women, no one's safe. It's only a matter of time where Cass Sunstein comes knocking at your door or your business door. You will be a criminal just like everyone else, and then you will have a choice. I hope at that point there's somebody standing around next to you who will look you in the eye and say, brother, with firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and sacred honor. Stand up. Say the truth. Damn the consequences. I'll stand with you.